with things outside it, like called parallel establishment, okay? So imagine 1,000 different startups, each of them replacing a different legacy institution. So for example, at the top, there's San Francisco, and we're replacing San Francisco both with things outside it, like Cul-de-sac in Arizona, and Prospera in South America, and Cabin, which is in Texas, but also around the world. And the neighborhood SF is actually fixing San Francisco from within SF, right? So you can have the Satoshi strategy of going outside, or the Satya Nadella strategy of reforming within. Either Satoshi or Satya is fine, as long as you're not Steve, who says it ain't even broke, Steve Ballmer, okay? So San Francisco, replace San Francisco with these startup, societies. Then in the middle is Harvard, right? We're gonna take out Harvard, and we have parallel education. That's Replit, that's Synthesis, which is K through 12, but it's also AI tutoring. The Thiel Fellowship, Emergent Ventures, you're gonna hear from some of the founders of these today. And then the last row, there's another example. We replace media with parallel media. It's Twitter and X, it's Substack. You're gonna hear from the author of The Great Lady Wing today and many other people doing parallel media, okay? And so this concept of the parallel establishment, if you take up all of these new institutional replacements on the right-hand side, together, that's a parallel establishment. They exist alongside the legacy in parallel. They're gaining strength, they're pulling away users until they become the new thing, okay? So this is how we turn that seemingly impossible thing of building a new country, break into a bunch of individual startups, and then aggregate them together. There's two parts of the parallel establishment. There's the parallel societies, okay, and these are the physical societies, right? These are the first part of today's conference is about these, to show that this is actually physical and real, okay? You're gonna see about a dozen of these physical startup societies. There's Cul-de-sac in Arizona, there's Prospera, as I mentioned, in South America, there's Cabin in Texas, but these are actually decentralized. They plan to do nodes elsewhere. That's just their first nodes, okay? They're all kind of network cities or network societies that are setting up little nodes around the world. So this is how we build internet-first physical infrastructure. We've got internet-first communities that are recruited from the internet. These are the kinds of places, Cul-de-sac, for example, is like a remote optimized city. Like if you built a normal city with roads for the daily commute, what would a remote optimized city look like if it was built for remote workers? You totally rethink all the architecture. It's walkable, you don't have cars everywhere, the cars are on the outside, they're self-driving. It rethinks every piece of the infrastructure, and these startup societies are doing things like that, okay? So these are the parallel societies. And the other piece of the puzzle are the parallel institutions, okay? So you can almost think of it as like a vertical strategy of building a new city in place, and a horizontal strategy of replacing media and education and finance, okay? And those two are complementary, the vertical and the horizontal. So the second part of today's conference is about the parallel institutions. Here, these are the new New York Timeses and Harvards, the new Supreme Courts and Wall Streets. It's internet-first versions of medicine and law and media and education and finance and even science itself at DeSci. This example on the right is for parallel education. So Replit has 20 million Replit developers, is transforming computer science education worldwide. Synthesis, AI tutoring, so you'll be able to scale tutoring. And the Thiel Fellowship, Thiel's unicorn success is awkward for colleges. We have the Thiel Fellowship, one of the co-founders right here is going to talk to you later today.
We're putting together a lot of pro-Israel